Transition. You know, I will tell you what happened. King Dead is DDoSing us again. Oh, it's King Dead with his DDoS. He does this every now and then. Causes an unstable connection. Sorry. I probably got to talk more this way now because I've made an adjustment. I'm used to talking over this way for the mic, but the mic's over here now. This actually, okay, yeah, I can still get my arm in there. All right. I made like a bit of a setup change, so the light's a little bit better as long as I don't sit somewhere over there. There was a crazy shadow issue. But hopefully, I don't know. I don't know where to talk into the mic now. If I just like lean right into it, if I can sit back, I don't know. Oh, Shnola, I knew you were probably going to be around asking this, and I kind of dreaded it because I don't know what to say, man. This is one of the big talking points of tonight, is that we're still unclear as to what exactly is going to happen for the roleplay servers. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I might need to figure out a new thing for the mic. I think it might have worked better just before. This feels weird. The one thing that is throwing people off for Season 2 and choosing between a roleplay server or a mixed server is, I think, this thing here where can change from factions from good to evil and vice versa. I don't know if they just mean like at will at any point, or if that means at the beginning of the season you can change from good to evil and vice versa, and that's not available on roleplay servers. This message here says accounts entering the roleplay servers, if they were in the same faction in Season 1, will definitely end up in the same Season 2 roleplay server. I still personally don't know how to read this. I don't want to read it as whatever faction you are now is the faction you're going to be in Season 2, but that's what it seems a lot of people have taken from this. And it's being interpreted, it seems, that, like I said, whatever faction you are right now in Season 1, if you choose a roleplay server, you're going to be locked into that faction for Season 2. And that's making it really hard, if not impossible, for people to form new groups. You know, enemies that now have become friends aren't able to coordinate where they're going to go. But the other thing is they still haven't really been clear on how the mergers are going to work. I've been seeing that because I did some testing earlier myself, and this little icon that lets you pre-register for Season 2, it is not... Okay, why am I not... Yeah, I don't know. The chat in something here's got to catch up. Holy crap. Anyway, this season notification, this pre-registration thing isn't showing up in all servers, it seems. Because I tried to check out a few different servers to see where, if it is the case that we can't change factions. I was basically going to suggest anyone that wants to go Mordor with me, we would all just find a server that's not very populated, choose Mordor, and then bam, we'd all transfer over together. But it doesn't seem like all the servers are merging together. There are later ones that don't have this icon, and so I don't think they're going to be transitioning into Season 2 at the same time as we do. And yeah, there's just a lot to wrap my head around with this. It frustrates me. as I told them on the on the Discord page, like, I guess it was a swing and a miss for this middle ground solution. It just feels like they're trying to kill it. But yeah, Shnola, that was trying to address your question about what server I'll be going on. I still don't know, because like I said, I started a Mordor account on server 8 because there was room. Oh, well, thank you very much for that subscription. I gotta do something about my alert things, because I'm not hearing the alerts, and those aren't the alerts that are supposed to pop up, but hey, it works. So thank you very much for that subscription. But yeah, I started a Mordor account on server 8. It has the season icon, but then I started to think, if server 8 gets merged with server 1 here, well, how is that going to work? Especially if I choose roleplay on server 8 and normal on this account. Or mixed on this account. I'm even starting to call it normal, and I hate that, because these are the normal servers. Roleplay are the normal servers, in my opinion. These mixed ones are the weird ones. Sorry, apparently Celia's advertising for me. I really appreciate that. So I'm just gonna I can't type though. I can't type. And stream Wednesday and fry half broken F's. They make typing hard too. But also, there's probably a bunch of stuff happening in World Chat tonight, because everybody has been just blowing up about this. Like, the suggestions page has a whole new hashtag going around. Apparently, people thought it worked for Stop the Change, so they were trying it for this one as well. And yeah, anyone that's been checking out the official Discord today has probably seen the mess that has been going on the suggestions page and the party table. There were more. I got banned at one point from the suggestions page. I think it was a preemptive thing, and then it got lifted when I started making comments about it, saying that, you know, I had nothing to do with the new hashtag that was going around at that point. I had just woke up this morning and started seeing it myself. But then, yeah, at one point I went onto the suggestions page to type something, and that little message was there saying I didn't have permission to send messages in the channel. So I had myself a little chuckle about that. Yes. Hashtag don't kill the friendships. Was that started by Xander himself? Oh my god, if so, I love it so much. That's why I'll admit, Aragorn, or I don't know if I'm supposed to say names, but, you know, I have now, so sent me a message asking me to kind of help out with that, because I had, I don't know, started the Stop the Change one or influenced it or something, I don't know. And so I did my part. I went onto the party table thing and even said that, you know, if you're going to do the new hashtag thing, at least put a valid suggestion in there and give them reasons why it's bad and why you're unhappy and people that you know are unhappy and things like that, rather than just throwing the random, or not random, but just throwing the hashtag up there constantly. So, I mean, I put the one message out there. It got drowned out in the party table chat, but I felt like that was my due diligence. Anyway, I've had my initial little rant, I guess, over now, and I'm getting notifications. Is the connection okay? It says it's excellent now. Okay, it says I've got a good connection now, so we're just gonna roll with this. I think it's good. Thank you everyone for joining me and joining us tonight, because we're all here, and there's a bunch of new names in the chat, so thank you to all these new people for joining. Open Q&A, you know, any questions you have. I've probably missed a few in my rant, but we'll try and address some, and it's mainly a discussion tonight about Season 2, what we think about, you know, the possibilities, whether they're good or bad, who's going roleplay, who's going mixed. I wanted to talk about some of the changes that we have seen in the game and some that we still want to see. Because, I mean, something everyone is pretty happy about is finally seeing, you know, at least some emojis in chat. I know that people have been going nuts with these, and I've been enjoying them myself. They're a nice little addition. That's one that I will say, you know, it may not be a balance change. It may not be anything crazy or massive like that, but that's at least something people have been asking for, and the devs listened and put it in. Now, you know, I'd still love to be able to rename a fort. I think that'd be kind of handy, but I've been having fun with the elves the last couple of days, just kind of battling it out over here. It's been interesting. Sorry, Max. I think it's sad that if someone isn't in your actual faction, you might not be able to be in the same server. Yeah. That's the big issue with this, if it does happen, is that it's going to really hinder the major social aspect of the game. So this RP server only lasts one season anyways. Well, we still don't really know, Brad. I mean, I imagine that's their intention. But really, it all depends on how it all plays out. Mini Martin, you managed to be the first one to use emojis in World Chat? Nice. I kind of get that only a certain amount of servers will merge, but if we are not able to choose a different faction or play with enemies, turn friends, it's just killing it. And yeah, Syntax, I do agree as well. I mean, it makes sense that not all servers are going to transition at the same time. I was kind of surprised to see that I think I got up to server 35, and you know, it didn't have the icon like in the 20s. I think 22 didn't have the little pre-registration icon here. And there was a bunch of servers that I checked that had all of their seasonal objectives complete. So I don't know if maybe they're only going to be waiting a week, 2 weeks. You know, maybe when we transition into Season 2, they'll get their notification that they're going to transition. Because it would make sense that they do it in smaller chunks. Alice A says she's going RP, so me and the younglings can work at getting better before playing with the bad boys too. There you go. Oh, you meant continue to rant. Okay. Awesome, Max. Because yeah, I kind of agree with that. You know, the season pass, it does look nicer now. I will agree. But that's not, like you said, that's not the change people were asking for the season pass. They wanted it to be longer. So that one, I kind of hope that maybe that's going to be like a surprise change in Season 2. I'm a little doubtful, but you know, there are things like renaming forts, a longer season pass, what's another one of the, like skipping the tutorial, little things like that a lot of people have been asking for, that I can kind of understand maybe they wouldn't add them at the end of a season, but it would be really, really nice to see some of those at the beginning of Season 2 as kind of surprise changes. The Red Book needing to be longer, yeah. I wonder if Season 1 Season Pass will transition over to Season 2. I don't think so. Set of studios, like they're a season pass, so you'd have to buy a new one for each season, from my understanding. Well, I wonder if we get the notification in 2 weeks. My current good side server is 335. Wow. Yeah, let us know for sure when you do get that little notification then. Server 1 to 20 merge first. Okay, yeah, so that's why 22 didn't have it. And more servers should get a notification for Season 2 tomorrow, from what Cold Print said on Discord. Okay. So that'll be interesting to see which servers start to get their notifications. Juicy Red Book would definitely be nice. I hate to actually say it, but the rewards in the Red Book used to be quite a bit better. I'm typing what I'm saying. But yeah, they did actually give better rewards in the Red Book in beta, and then I don't know, they must have just felt they were being too generous, and unfortunately they nerfed them a little bit. Dawson Kaiser, how's it going? Haven't been able to tune in a while, but you're here now. Well, great to have you back. Was wondering about your thoughts on R5 Shadow build, and if you think his R5 skill is worth it. If I remember right, that's the one that allows him to attack multiple times. Mini Martin, you were in beta 2 and 3, eh? What servers and factions, or what was your name? Did we play together? I was either AjMcGamer or McCarthy. Yeah, 90% chance to attack twice. Rainbow Pit, how's it going? Congratulations on your Galadriel pull, buddy. I saw that on the Discord. I'm Lahara in the game. Okay, I don't know. The name doesn't jump to the front of my mind, so I don't know if we ever met each other on the battlefield. Personally, I haven't really spent money on an Evil Side server, so whatever server you pick to play Mordor on is fine by me. I'll be ready to swing my wallet. Nice, Syntax. Oh, look, there's Kmart. Yep. And people thought they went out of business. You know, I mean, there's that saying, setting up shop. But I literally decided to set up shop. I got the field office over here. We got our service desk, complaints desk, we got security, and we got Arwen over here on the service desk. We got Galadriel on the complaints desk. We got Aragorn and Theoden working security, and Aragorn's big brother over here looking after the field office. So they were doing a pretty good job. I've had a ton. Just a ton of reports over the last few days. If people would like, we can go over some of them. There are a few interesting ones. There's actually one that I'd like to find. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure the person was asking some questions. What was it? No, it wasn't the Gandalf fight. Yeah, I think it was after this. But yeah, these are all PvP reports basically from the last couple of days that I've had. It's been a fun couple of days. Lost. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lombardi. I mean, I don't, like I said, I did make this clear in world chat. I don't actually want to take the tree. I just like looking at it. like I said, it's been fun for PvP. The elves are putting up some really good fights. I will say that. The compositions and commanders that are being used. Hashtag save the tree. Oh no, somebody started a hashtag against us. Oh no, they did take their tree. Like they own their tree. We are interlopers for sure. And we've started attracting attention. Most of these were empty. There was a few people that came down and started poking at me, and then I was poking at them, and then that started bringing more and more people down. And then I think most of them were actually up here trying to defend Rivendell yesterday. And so once that fell, I think a lot of them decided to come down here, or some of them anyway. So it should get interesting for the next couple of weeks. Syntax, you got destroyed by a Karoon with 5k fallen today. You tried getting your first 300 tile on your current server. Oh, I feel you there, man. That's just not a fun day. Yeah, the map. It's actually gotten better. Oof. The dwarves have retaken their capital. They've retaken Withered Heath. The elves are not looking as good as they were. Mordor is looking less healthy, and Gondor has disappeared, but the dwarves are doing better. Go dwarves. But yeah, it's been a Rohan kind of season. At Dun and Eisen Crossing. Ooh. Oh, is that... Oh, way over here. Ah, okay. Well, there we go. There's a whole, like, yeah. PvP arenas are a common thing that I've seen. I can't remember if it was Rezar or who started it originally in the first beta that I played. But yeah, we had all gotten to this point basically where I think it was the elves on that server that were dominating. But we had all kind of made friends with each other and didn't really want to go full-scale war anymore, or so many factions had so little population that they couldn't. But yeah, these PvP arenas started to get set up, and that's kind of how the time gets passed at the end of a season. It's really sad to realize that now that that's what we were used to in the beta, because yeah, it's the beta. Sure, there's no endgame. And now here we are sitting at the live launch, and there's still no endgame. God damn. Set up the arena at Celebrant Fields. Yeah, a lot of the time they get set up in like neutral zones. Patrick Morrison, you're on server 1? I'm on server 1. This is server 1 right here. Is Patrick Morrison your name in the game? My throat is all like messed up tonight too, so if I sound hoarse, if all that, yeah, it's because I am. I mean, now that's if we get a prestige store, Max, or Mini Martin, sorry. I think most server 1 factions still have their capital except elves and Gondor. Gondor, I think, is the only one without their capital, actually. Well, yeah, because Karis Galadhon is actually... Is that the capital or is Rivendell? I think it's Karis. God damn it. The battlefield marker is in my way. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Karis is actually the capital. Deidrith, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, we're on the same server, man. You were the... Was it you that was showing me the... No, that was somebody else that was showing me their... Was it Haldir, I think. How many people will Gondor need to take it back? Right now, probably not a ton if Rohan didn't bother them. Hey, how's it going, remaining kin? Thank you very much for joining. Oh, no, it would be kind of tough. We've still got a ton of forts around there. But it looks like they're trying. No, Gondor is. Look at that. Go Gondor, man. The little nation that could. If they have enough level 50s to get through the defenders, the siege damage shouldn't be terribly hard if they had, 20 or 30 people. Seta Studios. Are you Celia? Alice A, you're Gondor as well? I mean, hey, go for it. No, you're Vita. Okay, there we go. Good luck to all of you. I want to see you take it. Rah, rah. I'm cheering for Gondor tonight. You can remove the battle markers in the show. Wait, what? Oh my god. I didn't know that was a thing. Oof, man. Thank you. Yeah, you got my back. First time I see you in chat, and you're already saving my ass. That's awesome. So for anyone else that didn't know that, apparently you can just turn off all the things. And be like, woo, look at me go. So that's awesome. That's helpful. Hashtag stop preventing King and AJ on the same. We're not even on this. Oh, stop preventing us on the same. Yes, exactly. They're doing that, aren't they? King dead. Hashtag stop the DDoS, man. What were you doing DDoSing me earlier? That was not nice. I thought we were friends. But King, did you know that this was a thing that rhymed? You can turn off all the things on the... I'm having fun with that now. See, I can get off track real easy. I want to gossip about why you leave Arda. I can be very honest about it. Like I can be very... Okay, I'll do one of two things, or I'll do both for you. I can be honest about it, which isn't a very exciting or dramatic story, or I can like make up some Hollywood dramatic story about it. What would you rather? I can be all like there was backstabbing and backdoor shenanigans and yeah. See, we got well yeah, there I mean, I tried doing my thing and I got just stopped at every corner. I was told, "Nope, you're going to get kicked out." I was arguing. Just didn't get along with anyone. I was betraying people. People were betraying me. It wasn't fun. I didn't agree with the leadership. They're all a bunch of losers. You know. It just didn't work. So I'm not very I wasn't prepared for that, and so I wasn't it didn't make for a very good Hollywood dramatic exaggerated story, but yeah, I mean, that's that version of it, I guess. Because that's probably what people expected and wanted to hear. But to be honest, no. It's just that because of my new work schedule, all of the attacks on like everything basically happened while I was at work. And so I didn't really feel part of the group. I didn't feel like I was contributing. I just didn't really feel like I was ever chatting with anyone or anything like that. And so eventually I ended up noticing that Crown Weatherby, one of the early friends that I made in this game, started as an enemy, as most good friends do. I noticed that he had left, and that was interesting. But then all of a sudden, one day, I noticed that he had started Swan up in this server. And so immediately I went and left Arda and joined Swan, because it was like, what the hell? You started a Swan and you didn't tell me? And that's just because, yeah, it feels better to be in a small faction, just screwing around, doing my own thing, rather than be in a big faction with a big group and not be contributing, not really being part of the group. So it's nothing against any of the people in Arda or Istari as a whole. I still love all those guys over there. Rezar, Jaaku, Dutch, just everybody over there. They're all great people. Great players, very knowledgeable. Custard's another one that's always over there helping people. And so, yeah, it's nothing against any of them. That's one thing I want to just make sure that's clear. It was nothing, no personal things like that. Like I said, it was just I didn't feel like I was contributing. And I also knew I didn't plan on joining them next season. So I figured I'd just make my break now and wish them luck in the future. F you, Reddington, and your Dwaylen. Hey, we got Red here. Reddington, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. You don't look like you're a betrayer. I'm not. I hate betrayal. I really do. Have I heard of server 350? I have now. Is that like the big content creator server that a bunch of... I've heard of one that there's like a big thing going on. I don't know the name of it. I don't know or like the number of the server or whatnot. But I have heard there's one server that's got something going on. Wubto, how's it going? Is there any way to guarantee we play with our friends on the same server for Season 2, or is it just you get in the same server, it's luck? So, Wubto, from what we understand, if you plan on going onto a roleplay server, then from everything we read right now, it sounds like you're going to be locked into the same faction that you are right now. So, for example, if on this account, on my Rohan account, I was to choose a roleplay server for Season 2, apparently I would be locked into Rohan again for Season 2. And apparently server as well. Like the message is right here. This is what everyone's kind of going by. Accounts entering the roleplay servers, if they were in the same faction in Season 1, will definitely end up in the same Season 2 roleplay server. Wait. Okay, this is the other problem, is certain things, like I said, I don't know if this is a bad term to use anymore, but the term lost in translation, if you understand what I mean. I think that this might be one of those cases, because after I read it a few more times, I don't know if they're talking about this on an individual level or more as a group thing where, okay, well, even as a group thing, it's still accounts entering the roleplay server. So let's say that's a group of accounts. If they were in the same faction in Season 1, so all of Rohan were in the same faction, we'll definitely end up in the same Season 2 roleplay server. See, this is where I can't fully understand sometimes some of the communication they put out. Xandercraft, thank you very much for hosting. I did see that pop up. And thank you for joining. And thank you in advance for joining us later on. It's going to be an interesting discussion because, yeah, to make of the Infidus, this confuses from good to evil factions, and you can do that on the normal servers. You can't on the roleplay servers. So yeah, there's stuff that's still not quite clear. There's a big picture that's been going around on the Discord of, I think somebody sent a message to the devs specifically asking for more clarification. And it looks like the devs basically sent back that no, you won't be able to join with your friends if they were in a different faction. Yeah, okay, Jimmy Crawford, you read it the same way, as all of your faction will go same server. But once in the new season, you'll still be able to select a new faction. Okay, that's the part that I was just mulling over in my head, was that you may all end up, and that would be the same for each faction on that server. So each server's group of people would still be merged together, but you still get to choose at the beginning of each season. The only thing about that is, like, I even came out with my initial messages this morning saying, I really hope this is just a misunderstanding and that what people are going on about isn't actually how it works. But if it was just a simple misunderstanding, that is so easy to clear up. And I guess that's just me giving too much credit to the devs, but seriously, if it's just a misunderstanding and all they have to do is say, oh, no, you're all still going to get to choose a new faction or whatever, but you're going to be grouped together, that would just calm everybody down. But they haven't even done that, and they allowed this new hashtag to jump up and chaos to ensue on their suggestions page again. So I don't know. It's got me worried again. I just don't know what the hell these guys are thinking. Like I said, I'm starting to feel like, I even said in one of the messages earlier, I'm pretty sure that one of the devs came up with this mixed server idea and is absolutely in love with it 100%. But like, don't kill the social aspect of the game to try and save your new mixed commanders idea. And thank you for that, Xander. I saw somebody put that out earlier that you had started the hashtag, and I asked, like, oh my god, did Xander actually start that himself? So high five. I love it. I really do. Like I said, Aragorn, the mod, actually came on asking me, oh, it looks like we got somebody trying to make an appointment with us. I had one of the mods come and ask me on Discord if I could help calm down the new hashtag that was going around. I put one message out in the party table, like I said. Figure I'd do my due diligence. But I thought, are you serious? Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to kill it. It had already gotten too much traction by that point. But in my heart of hearts, I loved it. Because it works. It really works. when the devs get pissed off and they tell the mods to start threatening bans and mutes, you know you got their attention. It didn't last 3 days this time. I noticed we still have a 6-hour wait between messages, though. They're not giving us that one back. I think between you and I starting the hashtags and Melkor in there actually getting everybody's thoughts out in a concise manner, you know, it's a great 1, 2, 3 combo. Because Melkor had another really good, concise post on the suggestions page, really breaking down the issues. Communication being the major one. Yeah, that's exactly it, Jimmy, is there's, you know, I agree with you that it kind of sounds like each faction is going to be on the same server, but we should still get our choice. But there's enough room for interpretation in everything that I've seen, and it's still unclear enough that I'm a little bit worried. You had a mad Rohirrim threatening your people. Well, that's no good. Wait, Alice A, are you Celia? Did we go over this before? I have recreational amnesia, so... Or suffer from recreational amnesia? How do you word that? So, if we did, I apologize, but... Yes, you are, okay. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the free advertising. As I said earlier, I really appreciate that. Like all the shout outs in World Chat and pointing people to the channel and everything. It's great. Beautiful name. Hashtag Telia Simp. Celia Simp. Supposedly we shouldn't be killing your forts at Tirith? Why? What? Who said you shouldn't be killing our forts at Tirith? I'm fine. Like, I mean, I don't speak for all of Rohan, of course, but I'm personally fine with you killing our forts at Tirith. I mean, I don't have any there, so that might have something to do with it. But anyway, I think, I don't know if I did ask earlier, but I'm very curious to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on, as we said, you know, what's going to happen in the next season, changes that we have seen, changes you still want to see. I won't tell you his name, but it is someone in RDC, but out of respect, I won't name him. Okay. Blast his name. Yeah, well, I mean, if they really have a problem with it, they've got the manpower to stop you. Be a bit of a dick move, in my opinion. But, hey, that's neither here or there. Where is Clown Weatherman? Who are you calling Clown Weatherman? That guy right there is like one of my best friends. This guy is the greatest guy. I will defend Clown Weatherman to the death, alright? Nah, he is a bit of a clown sometimes. A good old Gondorian scum he is. Whoop. Nah, he's got a good sense of humor. He wouldn't care. He'd love it. He knows he can get under people's skin. Now, him and I have done a lot of testing together in like the old betas. Him and I fought each other like crazy for a while. It was great. And then eventually I was, because that was back when I was a dwarf, and it was Gondor versus dwarves and Rohan actually. And then eventually Rohan turned on Gondor and started smashing them from behind, and they got really weak and a bunch of Gondor quit. And so then dwarves teamed up with Gondor and fought off Rohan. And then eventually Crown and I just kind of became friends and started going at it from there. He was a pain in the ass with his forts, man. I tell you, that's how it really started. When we were still actually fighting. There was at one point, just every day, we would log on and somebody else was relocated by Crown overnight on his own. He had forts all over the place and was constantly building new ones. We would have teams out trying to clear them. Oh, it was impossible. It was just a nightmare. Like I said, for a good week, every day we'd log on and somebody was relocated. I suffered that fate myself one time. It was great. Wait, we got Custard here? Where's Custard? I didn't see Custard in the chat. Or is Custard not called Custard in the chat? Well, Custard, how's it going? Thank you very much for joining. You as well, remaining kin. Thank you very much for joining, man. Hopefully we see you again. And Fabio, you wish they had more pictures for avatars. Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people suggest that. But yeah, it's one of those ones that still hasn't happened, like renaming forts, and hopefully, again, maybe it's one of the surprise changes that we'll see come season 2. All right, this guy's got 1 minute and 50 seconds before he regrets his decision. Zabian, are you with us here in? Are you with us here in the stream? Wait, like the Lord Custard from? I think so. That's what. Is Lord Custard here in the stream? Where's? That's the only Custard I know. And so I've been seeing people talk to. Oh, Jimmy Crawford is Custard. There we go. Hello, Custard. How's it going? I'm sitting here calling you Jimmy. Now I can call you Jimmy or Custard or Lord or. And yeah, here's Xander. Yeah, Xander, you are the Xander that ran the tavern, or like ran your own tavern, right? All right. Who are we going to have? Because he's not going to hit. Now he's going to deal with security. Bloop. Hey, Dreamer Boy, how's it going? Thank you very much for joining. We're just having our little chat about season 2, and I said somebody was making an appointment with the service desk, but it looks like they're kind of aggressive, so we're just going to have security escort them out. Dominic Serba, which type of server am I choosing? RP or normal? I know you didn't like the good evil thing, that's why I'm asking. Yeah, and that's the thing, Dominic. Like, I was going on about stop the change, but that's not truly what I wanted. I wanted some kind of middle ground like this, because the changes in and of themselves actually seem interesting, but I didn't want to see the entire game get changed over to that, especially so early. And so when I heard this middle ground thing, I thought it was pretty good. And I want, ideally, to have my Mordor account, which is going to be the main account that I use. I want that account to be on a roleplay server. And then I'm probably going to put this account on a normal server just to make use of it for testing. Because I do want to see something like, oh my god. Ouch. Ouch. Oh, that's... I mean, when I said he was going to regret his decision, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I do want to try testing some of the new stuff. And he didn't even take any losses. I do want to try testing some of the stuff with these guys. You know, some of them. Oh, no. Galadriel took it. Okay. See, and that's why she's on the complaints desk, because she deals with the ornery customers. A good long walk of shame, indeed. Show the battle replay? All right. And so, yeah, it ended up being, oh, he used a 33 Ori. But yeah, I'll actually, while I'm chatting, I'll just have the replay going. We'll put it up at 3 times speed here, unless that's whatever the word is. Yeah, actually, I think maybe 2 times speed would be better. It wouldn't be as jarring. That's the word I'm looking for, I think. Yeah, she's just doing her focus damage. There we go. We got all the axes. Yeah, they're just doing their thing. But yeah, Arwen, Radagast, healing Mumakil is going to be interesting. You know, now Custard, something I've heard is that Mumakil are actually considered a mounted unit. Have you heard anything to confirm that or not? Because if they're a mounted unit and are able to get buffed by like Theo and Aowen and whatnot, that would just be stupid. March Wardens are very tough. Yeah. That's one of the reasons that I was, at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of people kind of hating on Dunedains. And I just kept being like, no. Dunedains are very good. When you start fighting March Wardens, you want Dunedains. We were all saying the same, Galadriel with mummas. Yeah. Basically, anything that can heal mummas is going to be crazy. You know, anyone that deals a ton of damage on their own is going to be nuts. There are just so many combinations. Yeah. But the thing that I've heard, because Custard, if you go and check an Ent camp, Ents are not actually large units. They don't have the tag. Whoops. But if you fight Ents with Bonites, the Bonite's Giant Slayer ability does go off in the battle reports. And that only triggers against large units. So it seems like there are hidden traits that we don't actually get shown on those units. And so I didn't know if the same logic applied, where it's like, okay, Ents are large, so they don't necessarily need to put the large unit tag on them. If you technically think about it with Mumakils, they are a mounted unit. They have that big tent up top with a bunch of guys in it and a dude riding it. So, I mean, by that logic, they're just a mounted unit by default. And I've heard a lot of people, I've gotten into some discussions, and there were people pretty adamant that, yes, they are mounted units. Now, I've seen the battle reports involving Ents, showing the Giant Slayer skill pop off. I haven't seen anything similar for Mama Kills. So I think you'd basically need to run like Spearmen against Mama Kills and see if their mounted bonus damage pops off. But yeah, I'm the exact same way, Custard. Like, when I was making all of my decisions and judgments and everything like that, I went off the information that they plainly gave us. Like, the easiest way to show it is just clicking on a unit. But like, I would just come in here, and if it had an ability, then oh, okay, that's it. And mounted units all clearly had a mounted ability. So it's like, great, I know exactly what units are mounted. And, you know, like trolls, they clearly had the large unit ability. So it's like, great, I know exactly which units are large. And so for the longest time, none of us thought Ents were large, and we all made the joke that an Ent could hide behind a troll. But no, apparently they are large, they just don't need to show us. Hey, Dutchy, how's it going, man? Thank you very much for joining. Where is the Giant Slayer bonus appearing? So if you attack Ents, I don't think I have any Ents nearby, do I? I might actually. But if you attack Ents with Bonites and check the battle report, then on the attacks that Bonites make against Ents, you'll actually see that Giant Slayer ability pop off and give them bonus damage. Oh, man. Can I find an Ent? Of course not. That would be too handy. They're down here more, aren't they? Mr. Cody Reagan, thank you very much for joining, because I needed to thank you. I got a message saying that you upgraded your Patreon membership. So thank you so much for that, dude. I really appreciate it. One of the next things on my list for like days off is I got some behind the scenes kind of pictures type thing for my new setup that's going up on Patreon. I was got to get the information and stuff out there for all the patrons, and that is coming up. So just having a busy week. Son's turning 9 actually on Saturday, so we're gonna have a party for him on Sunday. So I'll be working Saturday. But 9 years old already. That's crazy. The new search function still... Oh, it does work for... Yeah, that's right. I forgot that was like the great thing about it, is it worked for the new special units. All right. And there was some closer than I thought. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, that's what I mean, Max. You know, using the same kind of logic that, you know, it just makes sense. Where, yeah, like a giant tree is a large unit, and an elephant with guys riding on its back is a mounted unit. So, in that sense, it does work. I don't want to have to betray somebody either to do this. I have a feeling all the Ents are taken. Do Ent moots give Ents or Hurons? I guess Ents, but still couldn't hurt to ask. Yeah, just Ents. The Huron things aren't actually in the game yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the new special units they add in Season 2, though, because they have said that there are going to be new special units. I'll send you in a game location. I appreciate that. Yeah, if somebody's got bear mat or ents around that I can just take. Oh, right here. All right, thank you. Alrighty, so we've got some ents here. Am I? What do I got? Oh, geez. How far away am I? Do I have a fort nearby? I don't. All right, long march. Oh, it lies outside of my movement range because it's in neutral ground. All right. So, I got to get my ass down here. Oh, I can just go right onto this side, though. Okay. I think we can do this. So, I got to come onto this side of it, though. I'm going to do the pin. That's what I had come back there for. Wow. Keep this mouse is... Yeah, I went too far. All right. So, up here, can we get Fangorn? No. Down here. All right, this is going to take how long? Half an hour. All right, we might be able to get this done. Oh, crap, I should have put Bonites on her. I mean, if anyone just has a report with Bonites fighting Ents that they could send, that would probably take a whole lot less time than me trying to get over here and do it myself. Thank you very much, Dutchy. I appreciate that. Ooh, nice. Got yourself Aragorn the Second. In my opinion, Dreamer Boy, this Aragorn is actually better than the T3 Aragorn. I really like this guy's skill sets. And at Respect 5, he gives stun immunity with Sun and Moon Splendor, which is nice. Sorry, Dutchy. Yeah, Rohan definitely did dominate here, Xander. There we go. That's a healthy looking Lurtz right there. I mean, nothing that he comes up against is looking very healthy at the end of it, but... By the way, you don't have access to the Discord channel. Okay, give me a second and I will fix that. I thought I was on top of things, but I was not. I haven't even checked. I don't even know what time we're at. Haven't been paying any attention. Where am I looking here? Whoop. I need to do the thing with the thing and the click. And there you go. Now you should have access once again. I just need to make sure. Whoop. All right. I'll do that first. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, God. I'm hitting buttons. Stop hitting buttons. Okay. I need... There we go. All right. We got the buttons hit. Hey, thank you very much, Slayer. Slayer. Oh, is watching over your shoulder, Unamus. How's it going? 99K per. I want to just. I'm going to be completely transparent here. That is all due to Rohan. That is not me. My personal production, I still haven't even broken 25K. I think I was over 25K like last week. I was at 26 or something. But yeah, this is literally coming from all of these. Just all of this. So I mean, a Rohan player starting an account today would start the game with 76,000 power. So that's me having that is not a great representation of at least my own personal power. So just want to be clear there. There we go. See, like Mr. Custard here, 137,000 an hour. That's somebody that's been putting in work, doing all this. I mean, not throwing you under the bus there for everyone else, Custard, but you know that he's been going around the map, taking tiles, really focusing on increasing his power. I haven't, so. Have you heard anyone talking about the laceration skill glitching? I did earlier in the season. I think it's Maria on the Discord server was wondering about the laceration skill. She showed me some reports. I was looking over them. I tried it out myself. It seemed like it was working, but I don't know. Let's make Slayer famous. Look in WC. I'm looking in WC. Oh. What do we got here? Looks like Coops and Jazier would be the most at about 160K per hour. But yeah, Cody, sorry, just to get back to that. Yes, I have heard basically of other people mentioning glitches. Yeah, you're right on, Jazier and Coops. Right up there at the top. Dreamer Boy knows I have Galadriel and Aragorn. Who else does I have? Does I have? Do I have? I think that's how the English language works. I have peoples. Slayer is your brother from another mother, same as Unamus. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, God Eater. We'll reach max ring power before the season ends. Probably. I imagine someone probably will reach max ring power before the season ends. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. So Slayer, have you been curious as to why your Grima might be underperforming? Because if so, we can have a little chat about him. Xander, okay, I gotta grab my phone because that's the only clock I have. Ugh. Whoops. Okay, because he may supposed to be on, but I just haven't been keeping track of the time. Oh, he is. It's been an hour and 12 minutes. So yeah, we'll have Xander on. Xander, are you... Okay. 5 minutes. Because I generally... 11:15 is when I generally schedule the guests for. That's when I let them know to be ready for. So we've still got 5 minutes. In that case, I'm just going to run and have a quick little smoke, if you don't mind. This is a great discussion that we're having, though, and Xander is going to be here to continue. But to quickly discuss Grima here, because this is one that I used very heavily, in my opinion anyway, you don't really want to max this one out. This is a great tree to focus on, second in command, but you definitely want to max out your madness tree. Max out the madness tree, and he does a lot better for you. You can run Reapers, Ravagers, Snipers. The Reapers make great use of anticipation. You don't want to run Mountain Trolls on Grima because Mountain Trolls and Madness work against each other. But his Madness tree is really, really, really good. So once again, I will be right back. Take a quick bathroom break. Xander will be back with us when we return. Gonna hit that transition button very quickly here. And yeah, we shall be back. Transition. All right, we are back, and I believe we have Xander with us. As soon as as far as I know, did I hit the transition button? I didn't hit. I hit the mute button. I hadn't queued up the live scene again. So now we do the transition thing, and I believe we have Xander in the channel now. I think his permissions are all adjusted once again. What is going on? Do I need to adjust? I may need to change my Discord thing again, though. What's going on? Audio. Where's the audio thing? Just 1 second. No, that's still output, input. Okay. Well, we are on standby for that just in case, because this has a way of just throwing me off. Oh, Xander just sent me a message. Internet started to tank. Literally fine all night, and then as soon as something happens, it starts to mess up on him. So you take your time, Xander. Hopefully things work out for you. Like I said, the permissions are all worked out again. So, oh wait, I haven't joined the guest speaker channel. That's probably why. Now that I'm in the channel, things might actually... Okay, but wait a minute. I saw that you were saying something, but I couldn't hear anything.
We on stream right now?
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yes, you are. I can change that for the moment if you need. If you need a minute to just... Yeah, it's a little crackly, but yeah, I'm sure it's... If it becomes too much of an issue, then we can reschedule or...
Shouldn't be too big of a problem. Just give me a second.
Alrighty. Just let me know whenever you're ready, and we'll bring you in. Alrighty. Sorry, but I know there was some in and out there, but check faction chat for Bonite. All right. For Bonite / Ent Battle. Aha, here we are. Thank you very much, God Eater. So, where is it? Bonite gains Giant Slayer. Bonite damage against large units plus 50%. So sorry, it's actually in the preparation phase that they get that. But as you can see, the Bonites do get their Giant Slayer ability, even though these aren't actually a large unit if you go by the abilities that they show down here. So, thank you very much for that, God Eater. That is the information that I was using to make the decision when I used to say that they weren't large units, was because it didn't show up here. But then once I saw the report, I thought, well, apparently they are. So, like I said, if the same thing happens for Mama Kills and yeah, if like Spearmen were to get their bonus damage against Mama Kills, then that would tell me they were mounted units as well. Exactly what Rainbow said. It always says it, but they may not get the damage bonus? Really? Because that I didn't pay attention to myself. So let me just... Where do I have a fight with some Bonites? Okay. There's no large units here. So preparation phase. Like, I'm not calling you guys liars. I always like to do personal confirmations. I don't... Ah, there it is. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, okay. So, they do gain their... Never mind. Okay. Okay. So, we may be onto something still here. Thank you. See, this is why I always like this stuff. Okay. So, digging deeper into this now. So, how would we... Oh, geez. We'd have to compare... We would have to compare their damage versus Ents against their damage versus actual large units, wouldn't we? Huh. Oh, crap. I've been listening to the... Sorry, Xander. If you're trying to let me know that you're good to go and ready, I wasn't paying attention to the right audio feed. So I wouldn't have been able to hear you. But I can now, because now I realized I can listen to my headphone feed. It's got all the stream feed as well. Both Bonites and Guard of the Tower's ability proc when fighting them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do agree with you there, Custard, that, you know, it makes sense that they show all the abilities, but they may not get the bonus. So yeah, okay. So maybe they aren't large units still. But god damn it, if they aren't, then like, because it made sense. I felt better. Even though it didn't say they were large units, I thought, whatever. They are large units. So even if I don't see it, at least the game recognizes that they're big. But now we're just back to that joke that an Ent could hide behind a troll. Well, like I said, Max, to me, the only way to find out would be personal testing. You would have to have, you know, you would basically need to take a certain number of Bonites that aren't getting any, like, damage bonuses from a commander or anything. Take them against a set group, like a set number of Ents. And then take the same number of Bonites on the same commander against the equivalent number of trolls. And try and... mountain trolls would probably be the best comparison in terms of defense. But yeah, it still wouldn't give great representation, but you'd at least be able to see the difference in damage numbers. So that would be the only real way that I'd know to even start trying to figure it out. There's Mr. Crown Weatherby. Oh, geez, I'm knocking my mic all over the place. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's just so many other numbers that come into it. Oh, your phone died. That happens. This game is one of those phone destroyers. You put it in the Discord that Mama Kill are both mounted and large. Alright, whoop. I'm taking a look at it now. So, if they are mounted units, that means that, yeah. But again, now, Wubto, is this in the preparation phase? Because if so, then again, this is just the same situation we're in now, where the guard of the tower are just getting their anti-cav training because they have it, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be doing the bonus damage against Mumakil. So well, thank you very much for joining us, Seta. I do appreciate it. Hopefully we see you again. It is always good to see fresh faces around. And of course, any new information that we get, you know, we'll be talking about it. Sounds good. Yeah, so like I said, I just thought about that myself, that it's just maybe another one of those situations, so. Oh, that's all right, Wubto. Like I said, it's again, it's going to be hard to figure out without doing further testing, because then you're going to have to be doing battles with non-mounted units and mounted units and calculate the damage. And God, they could just be, oh, and sorry, I keep forgetting that. Okay, restarting. Oh crap. Okay, yeah, Xander's having some major issues, I guess, having to restart his PC and router. So hopefully this does fix it, and we can get Xander in to join us tonight. If not, we will reschedule this discussion with Xander for another night, because I'm quite curious to hear his thoughts. We got chat going on in Twitch and YouTube and in-game. All right, Custard, I'm going to, well, actually, I guess I can answer both questions on stream here. My favorite commander in the game. My overall favorite commander in the game. That is a tough one. I think it might be Arwen, though, to be perfectly honest. The one reason I've said that is because she's one of the only commanders that I can remember getting to 50 or, 49 every time I've played. There isn't another single commander that I've played, and most of my experience is on the good side. But it just seems like every time Arwen is one of those commanders you want to get to max, because her healing is incredible. And just for that reason alone, I know Crown's going to love that answer, but just for that reason alone, I think it might be Arwen. Her consistency. All right, Xander's internet is back and working. And Slayer, I don't really, like, it's not that the R3 tree is terrible in and of itself. But it's not worth sacrificing the Madness tree to get it. And the second in command tree offers way more benefit than the Survivor tree does. So, in my opinion, for Grima, Slayer, you really have to max the Madness tree and the second in command trees. And then extra points you can put into the R3 Survivor skill. Because the damage mitigation it provides is nice, but everything else in the other two trees is really where Grima shines. Hey, all right, we've got Xander here. So just one moment. I'm going to get him patched into the stream here. Xander, I think everyone should be able to hear you now.
Hello there. Always a pleasure.
Everybody say hi to Xander. If the audio levels need to be adjusted, as always, let me know, and we'll adjust those on the fly as needed. But Xander, what are your thoughts? Just diving right into it on like what's been going on, the shenanigans in response to your hashtag. I saw the devs and mods getting all uppity about it again. You know, just where the game's going.
Well, first off, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Xander. I'm from Server 17. You might know me in that as Barhadaran. And I'm the leader of the Dunedain of Gondor on that server. But in terms of our sort of current situation, I'm not sure if you went over or how in depth you went over it, but it would seem that from all information that's been given to us, only factions, or rather members of the same faction, will be guaranteed to be sent to the same server. Now, we don't know if that is in regards to just the roleplay players who want to select the roleplay servers. Some people have presumed as such. However, to me, it seems more of poor wording, something lost in translation, because I know a lot of the development goes on in Germany, and they handle a lot of that in Germany, and they have the development team in China. So there can be a lot that gets lost in translation. I tend to believe that what likely is happening is that as far as server changing goes, going into the next season, people of the same faction are guaranteed to be together. However, that doesn't allow any mechanic for, say, friends that you made in other factions on your server to join you in a new server. They may not get put in the same server as you. And from the information, they explicitly might be purposefully put in a different server than you. And therein lies the problem. The problem lies in the fact that, well, a couple things stem off of this. That's that if you are recruiting new members for a fellowship, you don't really have a convenient way that at the time, as we know, there isn't any particular way in which a person from another server, or for example, another faction within your server, is able to be guaranteed to end up in the same Season 2 server as you. Now, it does seem that the developers have set up the server selector in a way that would allow for multiple seasons with the Season 1 and Season 2 tabs. However, from a post that was given in the customer support to a question of a player, they've said there's no way that players will be able to play together. And I think that is really a very insensitive sort of decision by the developers, if it indeed is their decision, because do remember in this whole case that it's a whole lot of hearsay, and the developers haven't even given us a response yet.
Yeah, and that's I think one of the biggest issues in general is just the lack of communication.
Yeah, that is by far the largest complaint that I have heard from people when it comes to this game, is the lack of communication from the developers on key issues that the community believes in. And I would say to that aspect especially, that people have been playing together over the past like 2.5 to 3 months since September 7th. And by the end of the season, which is ending sometime around November 25th, players will have been together for almost 3 months. And people have formed relationships across the different factions. For example, in our server, we've come to sort of respect each other and have come up with plans to work together and go to. There's many people from our current server, Lothlorien, as well as Rohan and Mordor and Erebor, essentially every faction almost. We all wanted to go to Arnor together, a lot of the players from our server, in order to stay together because of the relationships and sort of bonds that we've formed over the duration of the season.
Yeah, you develop like a mutual respect.
Yes, definitely. A mutual respect and as well, to some extent, a friendliness amongst each other.
Oh, yeah. As I said, there's been many of the friendships that I've made in this game were people that started as enemies. So.
Definitely. In our case, especially, we ended up carrying out, and I touched on this in my last appearance here, but for anyone who doesn't know, Operation Air New Zealand was a multi-faction cooperation between our fellowship, our faction of Gondor and the faction of Mordor, where we were in our time of need, and we worked to harbor the Mordor leaders over to the Paths of the Dead, where they could place a fellowship fortress. And well, it didn't work out for us in the end. In the process, we certainly built some pretty good bonds with our friends over in Mordor. And to this day, there's many people from Mordor where we all want to stick together and end up in the same faction in the next server, or if not the same faction, the same server at least.
Yeah, like you said, and that's one of the big things that I see people having an issue with, is that if it is going forward the way people fear, it's really going to kill one of the biggest social aspects of the game, and it's just going to generate so much boredom. If we can't choose factions again, if we can't join up with people that we've developed, like you said, these relationships and friendships with, if we're just fighting the same people with the same forces, it's going to be extremely boring. As I said on the Discord server, just a replay of Season 1, basically.
Oh, most definitely. And I mean, the one thing that's good is that they aren't just, as many people believe, making the roleplay servers a repeat of Season 1. So the good thing about it is that both servers, and I'd just like to clarify this for anyone who may be confused, both the roleplay and the non-roleplay servers will have the new objectives. They will have all the new content. The only difference between the two is that you cannot use evil commanders if you are on a good faction, and you can't use good commanders if you're in an evil faction. And because of that, they also will not have the embassy system.
Well, yeah, and it says right here, like, that new ring tech persuasion won't be part of the roleplay servers. The embassies, you can't change the alignment of tips, your Matham chests. But then it's this last one on that list, Xander, that really kind of threw me off, where they say, can change factions from good to evil and vice versa. Do you...
Yes.
Because, like, right now, even on the normal servers, we can't change from good to evil. If you choose good, you had to be good, and if you wanted to switch factions, you had to do so within your side, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But do you think that on the mixed servers next season, you are actually going to be able to swap between... Like, if you start as Mordor and halfway through you decide, screw it, I want to be Gondor, you can actually swap over to Gondor?
I feel that, especially with the context of how this update is going to what the update's going to be bringing, which is essentially allowing anyone to unlock troops or commanders from either side. So a good person can use evil and good, and a bad person can use evil can use good and evil. Like, it's I do believe that logically that decision is another thing that makes sense, especially with all the new additions, is that if indeed there is no sort of, because when you switch factions, you keep all of your commanders, as well as any items you have, but you lose all your land and a couple other things.
Yeah.
So in regards to that, I do believe that it would make sense that if you've sort of removed this barrier between good factions and evil factions,
True.
logically it would flow that there's no reason to stop someone from switching from a good to an evil faction like there is right now.
Yeah, I guess, I hadn't because this is such a new thing, I hadn't actually thought it through that way. But yeah, like without the separation between the two, like you said, there is actually no reason to prevent it. It just kind of shocks me, I guess, because I felt like the reason that they had prevented it up to this point was that it was difficult to implement code-wise or something.
Well, it would be if you were to keep the separation between good and evil factions in terms of commanders.
True.
Because with your commanders, if they're meant to be kept during a faction change, then changing to an evil faction wouldn't allow you to keep the commanders. So they would either have to make the decision to delete them, or to just not let you switch between good or evil types. And really quick to address the question that Custard had, because yes, I do have the chat open right now.
Okay, great. Yes,
Custard.
That's awesome.
He asks, the way I read it is you will all be able to come together if you go mixed server, but not roleplay server. So the main issue is even the question that we have to ask that. Now, the wording was really unspecific. It was very sort of cloudy in terms of what's going on. Is this just pertaining to roleplay servers that you cannot, and even that, it didn't specify whether you're able to go to a server, right? What it specified was that on it said something regarding factions, of switching factions. So in terms of switching factions, they said something about
Sorry, chat,
how...
we missed it. Oh, sorry, I was going to check something and then we missed the relocation. But Crown did it, everybody. Sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah, no problem at all. But they did say that with the factions, and I think what you're talking about is the little extra info thing if you click the question mark. It said if evil faction, you'll be able to switch factions to evil or good in Season 2. You will not if you're in the roleplay server. So it said something in regards to that. I would have to see the exact screenshot. But also, the other mention was that members... It said members of the same faction will be guaranteed to go to the same server.
Yeah.
In roleplay servers.
Yeah, so I've got that notification open here.
So it really doesn't specify
well, and like we said, I don't know if this comes down to, like you said, that translation thing, because this doesn't feel like the way a natural English speaker would write this information. Accounts entering the roleplay servers, comma, if they were in the same faction in Season 1, comma, will definitely end up in the same Season 2 roleplay server. So like you said, there's so much that's still unclear there and so much left to interpretation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking here right now on your stream, and it says accounts entering the roleplay servers, if they were in the same faction in Season 1, will definitely end up in the same in Season 2 roleplay server. So it's It's saying essentially that if you go to a roleplay server for season 2, that anyone else in your faction who also goes to a roleplay server is guaranteed to get into the same server.
Yes.
What it doesn't touch on is, does that also apply to people who are in the non-roleplay, or is and also it doesn't touch on if there will be any sort of means of server selection where you could change that, right? So it sort of seems to word it in a way that you won't be able to switch your server or select a server,
Yeah.
and that you'll just sort of be put in a round robin approach. You'll just be thrown into whatever server they deem fit with the rest of your faction. Like, your faction will be assigned to a certain server. And so
that's the part that
that
kind of
is
confuses.
one of the issues.
Yeah, that's the part that kind of confuses me too, because I've been trying to wrap my head around how the actual merger is going to work. Because, for example, on server 1 here, if I choose on my account to go as a roleplay server, but somebody else chooses to go as a normal season 2 server, well, how does that merger work? Because you can't just take server 1 and merge it and everybody on it into the same season 2 server if they haven't made the same choice. So
Yes, and just touching on as well, I just dug up the screenshot of what the official Lord of the Rings support response to this was. So someone asked, and their response was, "Dear Tactician, thank you for contacting us. If you and your friends are not in the same faction, you may not enter the same season 2 together. Thanks for understanding. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for your support, etc." So someone asked for a clarification
yeah.
to support, and they were essentially told that if you're not in the same faction, no matter what, like not regarding mixed or roleplay, if you're not in the same faction, you will not be able to play season 2 together. So that brings up even greater concerns of, does this mean, of course, that no one will be able to play with anyone else from other factions within their server?
Oh my god, I just had a light bulb moment. What if this is their attempt at trying to prevent because one of the big complaints they've gotten is things like big groups getting together and causing things like this to happen, where just the map gets taken over. What if this is their response to that, and they thought, hey, here's a solution. We will just prevent everybody from making those organized choices. And they just didn't tell any of us that that's what it was. But it fits.
Yeah, and the thing in regards to this whole situation as well, and I do say that may be it. If it is, it's a very poor decision.
Yeah.
But this is season 2 we're talking about. What the purpose of season 2 is, or rather the way that they've spoken about how season 2 will be handled, is that they will be taking every single server in season 2, or rather every single member of season 2 within their factions, and mixing it up between different servers. So there will be what they've always referred to as a server merge, where people of similar power levels will be mixed into, or rather people with similar prestige levels, I believe, or it might be the same titles or something like that.
Yeah.
Will be merged into the same servers. And so what they wanted to do was essentially take the most powerful people and put them into the same server, so that it's sort of more balanced, and then the less successful factions would by default go to a server with others of a similar power level. or whatever means they use to do that. But they did say that they would be merging sort of the winners together,
Yeah.
to match power levels. But the thing is that we haven't been able to get a confirmation in the least that you'll be able to select, for example, a server that you won't be able to, and it seems that from what the support response currently is, you won't be. So unless we find some way to change the developers' minds like we did with Stop the Change, the current situation we're sitting in, as we understand it, of course, and as the developers have responded to us, is that we won't be able to select a new server. And that really just, in closing, kind of sucks, because you have your friends that you've made. You don't want to just lose your friends. And it's a very bad decision for the developers to go and say, we don't really care about the friendships that you've made, or rather, we don't care about keeping your friendships together in this game. That's not our responsibility. We're merging you, and you have no choice and no way to play with people who aren't in the same faction as you. And I think that that's a really bad decision, because in this game, there's a lot of people who play it just for, well, not exactly just for, but very much for the community feel that it gives. And that's really what makes it special. That's one of the reasons why I continue to play this game season after season, beta after beta, is because it's always had this community feel that you build up, you become friends with tons of people, you get to know everyone, and you sort of have your fun times together, you have your not so fun times together over a large span of time. And for them to just sort of be like, yeah, the only community you need is your own faction, that's really not a good thing for this game.
And it's really strange to me, because it was such a natural evolution for the community too. You know, seeing how it, at least from the betas that I started to, like, I wasn't really part of the community at first. I was a little more distant, but just eventually I couldn't help it. It was a contagious attitude that everyone was just happy, having a good time, friendly, and it just kind of rubbed off. And eventually I was, you know, right there chatting with everybody all the time, and found myself part of this community that you talk about. And as you said, it's been one of the biggest benefits of the game. Like you said, it's what keeps bringing me back, is looking forward to joining back up with all the people again. And like you said, the fact that they're threatening that and they don't respect it, it's not like they didn't see how easy it was to happen. So I don't know how they couldn't expect it to be happening again. You know, that's just
and I think
how it goes.
This too, the common sort of love of the Lord of the Rings franchise, as well as this love of, this is a really cool sort of immersive war game, is what brings us all together. And in the end, that really makes for some very powerful friendships to form between people. And in the end, when you have, I mean, the joke was always, hey, the devs are up to it again, let's start a Minecraft server or something, right? But it was always a joke. People always just laughed at it. It was something I would just say whenever the devs were getting into their antics and doing something, is, hey, we could always make a Minecraft server.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have a real issue when the developers, they can make this world, or rather NetEase, can make this world as amazing as they can imagine. The game's only limit is truly their imagination at this point. And of course, within the communities and the Lord of the Rings sort of lore, they are constrained by that. But the fact that I feel that they're underperforming so much, or rather not communicating with us or butting heads with the community all the time, is a big problem, especially when people start to take my joke seriously.
Yeah.
You know, people start to say, you know what? I'm getting sick of this. I really don't want, I'm sick of the game. I love the community, but I'm sick of the game.
Yeah.
So why don't we all just create a Minecraft server, Minecraft Lord of the Rings server, and just move on, you know? And you really, really have a problem
Yeah.
when people in your community of this game that you're developing start to say, we like our community, we don't want to lose our community, and one of the only ways we can really do that is if we find another game that won't separate us, that won't forcefully remove us. So
Yeah, like I said, it's been really, really sad to see the amount of longtime players that have just gotten sick of the game and the devs and given up on it. The amount of new players is what really hurts me. Seeing all the new players that have just joined and are still only experiencing their first season, and to see the complaints that they've had, to see them talk about the same issues that we all did from the betas, the boredom, the balance, all these kind of things, and still not see any meaningful change to help it, and be starting to see all these new players quit before the game even really has given them a chance to see what it has to offer. It's getting so hard to keep trying to say the same things to people over and over, and have hope for season 2 and the game's future looks bright, when you can't really guarantee that anymore. The devs just keep letting us down.
yeah, and it really is unfortunate because we have a lot of people who are interested in our fellowship. They want to join us for season 2, and the issue is now they're being faced with a problem. In order to guarantee them being in the same server as us, they have to make the choice of, and this is their choice, they're coming up with these ideas, but they're making the choice. They're literally going and making the choice of, do we keep all of our items and commanders from season 1? And just hope that the developers make this right, and trust in the developers, or do we go and start fresh on server 17, Gondor, just to guarantee that we get into the fellowship? And some people who have spent in the range of over $100, in fact over $300 on the game, are going and saying, you know what, I can't trust the developers enough, so my money that I've spent on the game is, I guess that's too bad, because I can't trust the developers to sort of carry through and do what's best for us and for the community, and to do what the community wants.
Well, and how can you
so
continue to put money into the game and put money into the developers' pockets when you see where their efforts go?
Definitely.
Somebody made the joke that the money I had invested was going into those crappy YouTube ads that they run, those fake ones. And it's sad that part of that's true, is that the money we're putting into this game, anyone that does put money in, is going to things like those crappy fake YouTube ads, are going to the 3D tavern upgrades and not communicating with us. And it's like, really? I just don't know how I feel about that.
And there is a reason, of course, why, if you look at their ratings on Google Play and you look at their ratings on the Apple App Store, they really aren't doing too well. I mean, the last I checked, they were sitting at a 2.3, and I'm like, is this the same game that I know? I mean, this is, we're talking about an officially licensed game, like, that has been approved, and gone through the Tolkien sort of the Tolkien estate and become officially licensed to produce this game under the Lord of the Rings brand. And it's really underperforming for a game of its potential. I mean,
Yeah, you would
and I'm
figure like a
sitting here
knockoff
thinking
would
like,
get a 2.3.
yeah, and that's the thing, is that we're sitting here and the new players or potential players are looking at this and they're going, well, this game must be really bad. And I have to sit there and say, well, the game, but not the community.
Yeah.
And the game, don't get me wrong, the game isn't bad at its base, but the game has
Exactly.
so many issues that need to be fixed, and the developers just don't seem to they don't seem to listen to the community, and they end up butting heads constantly with the community,
Yeah.
and it really creates a bad environment. And in the end, it really isn't looking good for the game. And what we really need is the developers to have more of a symbiotic relationship with their community, in which they help us, not that we help them by making excuses for where the game is lacking.
Yeah. Like I even want to go so far as to address this directly to any devs that may stumble upon this section of stream. Like, seriously, guys, communicate. Just communicate. It's really simple.
And communication is key, and I see it in a lot of companies. They want to keep these kinds of things like really secret until it's gone through and been approved by HR and public relations and stuff like that, and they run it past the marketing team and everything. But in the end, what we really, really need is either for the developers to sort of clear up these concerns at their earliest convenience. I see them online right now.
Yeah.
And I still don't see a response to game suggestions. And even with Stop the Change, I understand that, of course, you're going to have your board meeting. You've got to have your board meeting. You've got to discuss all this. You've got to figure stuff out. But in order, like, when you have big issues like this, like Stop the Change or don't kill friendships, like, you really have to be prepared to have someone on damage control or to have some form of community manager who's there to clear up these issues. And it really doesn't require a board meeting to just give the answer of, currently our plans are to not have server selection, to not allow you or other people to do this, but we're open to suggestions and to discussing this, and then have your board meeting, then come out and say to the community that we are, like, these are our plans and this is how we plan to resolve the situation. But what you really need is that immediate response on damage control to communicate with your community, or else you're going to have people leave. And I've seen it already. We have had multiple people leave in our fellowship just over all of these issues, just over the uncertainty and the way that they feel that the game is being so mishandled that it's not worth the money that they've paid.
Yeah, not
And
everybody
even
has the
some
same level of
free-to-play
patience.
players too. Yeah, and I personally will be giving Season 2 a shot. I believe in second chances. I believe in, or more like third, fourth, fifth, whatever this is at this point.
Whatever number of chances we're at, whatever. Who's
But
counting?
I believe in at least trying Season 2 and seeing what it's like, and giving the developers a chance to correct their mistake, to go and see what the community is thinking. And I think it's quite evident with the hundreds of people just today, after I started that hashtag don't kill friendships, just to see the hundreds of people who voiced their opinions, who all seem to be of the same opinion that, no, we won't take it for an answer that you are keeping us separate from these friendships that we've made. We want either a server selector or to have some way to guarantee that we will end up in the same server as our friends that we made during this season. And I definitely will be trying out season 2, and at the very least playing it with just the same members of our faction. But when you have a faction, like in our case, that is completely dominated by a single fellowship, and it was originally 2, but we merged. So now, at this point, we've got a single fellowship that is dominating our faction, with maybe 1 or 2 other smaller fellowships who occasionally help out. You have a really big issue, because that means that if only the people from our faction end up in Season 2 server, we're going to have... we're going to be at a huge disadvantage to, say, another group. And I know that they're probably going to be merging in other fellowships and factions from Gondor in, but they haven't even clarified to the point of, will you be able to select a faction upon joining?
Yeah.
Right. And so there's even some concern about that. And that is something of the most basic, it's about as basic as you can get when it comes to this switch. Will we be able to select the faction that we go to in Season 2?
Well, and
I
that's one
believe
of the
we will
points.
be.
That's one of the points that I brought up in their page, because like this morning when I first saw all this stuff, I was trying to basically throw the devs a lifeline, because like you said, it's not hard to have someone on damage control, like an official member of the dev team on damage control. And even if they didn't have that on hand for the stop the change thing, they should have learned their lesson and realized that was a possibility, so that in the event of another hashtag like yours this morning, they could be on it. And as I put out, if it was a misunderstanding that we were just all reading it wrong, and that no, you are still going to be able to choose your faction, but everyone in the same faction is going to go to the same server type thing. And like it's a very roundabout and complicated way of telling us that everyone on your server is going to get merged onto the same server in Season 2 if you choose roleplay or whatever. And like you said, I think we should still be able to choose our faction at the beginning of the season, but
Yeah, and
we
I think
don't
we
know
will.
for
I
sure, and
definitely
that's
think
the
we will.
problem.
Yes, and therein lies the problem, is the communication. And if you look at it at its base, when you look at the very first message that included "don't kill friendships," right? All I'm asking for is better communication with the community, and to actually not separate us. Like,
Yeah.
as I say, conflicting information seems to be confusing many, and it would be nice to get some official confirmation on the case, And that therein lies our problem, is a lack of information. We want to know, will we be able to select our faction at the start? And I believe we will, as we always have. But the fact that that information isn't out there and readily available, or that we're not able to get a prompt response to that, is concerning. And especially in terms of the bigger picture here, which is who goes where in the server merge.
Yeah.
That's about the most basic sort of function of this season change, is the server merge. And so it scares a lot of people. It scares a lot of people to have this big server merge that no one knows what's going to happen. No one knows, are we going to stay with our friends? And at least we have the clarification now that if you are in the same faction and you select roleplay, you'll go to the roleplay server. And I presume it's the same if you go to a different server. But at the same time, we don't have any confirmation about that second bit. So what happens if you're going to a mixed server? Do you end up in the same server as your faction or not? Is it only guaranteed with your roleplay servers?
And that's the other thing, yeah, because the way I read it is that this only applies to the roleplay servers, and that the mixed servers are going to basically merge the same way we all originally thought, where they just merge and everyone gets to choose a new faction at the beginning of the season. But
Definitely.
these other changes, and Zawazi just jumped in asking why I said the devs listen, sort of. This is the discussion we're having, Zawazi, is because today Xander actually started the hashtag Don't Kill Friendships on the Discord suggestion page, because with the information that came out about pre-registering for Season 2, people are not quite clear as to whether or not people from different factions are going to be able to join the same faction together Season 2 if they choose roleplay, or if we're all going to be locked into whatever faction we've chosen now. We still don't know clear information on the actual server merging, as in like numbers, like what servers are going to become which numbers. So there's just still a lot of unclear information and confusion surrounding Season 2. So like I said, they did listen in the fact that they've given us at least the option of which kind of server we want to play on. But it became a sort of, because we still don't really know what's going on, and people are angry again. So we're just discussing that tonight.
Yep. And I think, just to clarify what the end goal is there should be some form of way to guarantee that you and your friends from other factions end up in the same place, whether that be the server selector, which seems to be set up with Season 1, Season 2. But just like the first season, it would be very nice to be able to actually select our server before we're just merged into some random server. And because the way that it currently works is when you switch servers, you lose everything, right? You lose all your items, you lose your commanders, etc. And so it would be, and I understand that there's reasons for that. There's prevention of certain forms of abuse by doing that. But what it would be really nice to have is some way, roleplay or not, because it's the same either way, to have some way to select both our faction going into that, and I'm sure we will, but also to be able to select our server in order to allow us to work together, as well as to maintain our friendships and stay together with the people that we have sort of become connected to emotionally during this season.
Yeah, and I'm really sad because when I originally saw the post that the devs put out, saying that they had listened and were making this adjustment, their original message did make it sound like we would get to choose our server all over again. It said something about players will get to freely choose whether or not to play on a role play or server or not. And so I actually had a lot of hope that we'd basically all be able to take whatever account we wanted to use as our main account, and that would be the one we could choose which server to go on and which style. But that was completely wishful thinking, it seems.
Definitely. And I read it too, and I thought, okay, good. So they're not going to make this season change hard on us. It would be, but the issue is in that case, it would be nice to have a server selector where we can say, transfer my account to this server for the next season, you know? But
because that's been another big thing that people have wanted, is to be, because a lot of people don't know exactly which server they want to choose, or the server people choose initially isn't always the server they want to end up on at the end of a season. If you know what I mean, like some people find out that their friends are on a different server or whatever, and so the request for being able to switch servers with your main account. That's been a suggestion that's been going around on the suggestions page for a while. And people have even suggested, like, if you need to charge us for it, people would pay gems to be able to transfer their account.
Yeah.
And nothing. You know,
Yeah.
like, and
And
that's
at
how
the very
deaf
least,
that's how deaf the devs are on this, is that we've even offered to throw money at them to
yeah.
have a suggestion in place, and they still won't listen to it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that at the very least, if it's per season, you can choose what server you go to in the next season. That would be enough of a compromise for me that if I ended up in the wrong server and I transferred my account to the wrong server, it'd be enough of a compromise for me that I would be happy enough to say, okay, whatever, I'll play this season out, and I'm then going to select what the server that we all want to go to, my friends and I, for the next season. But at the very least, give us the option to, at the end of the season, when everything's done, there's no means to abuse the transfer of an account, because you're no longer going to be able to play in season 1. At the end of the season, at least give us the option to go and transfer our account to the server of our choosing, roleplay or not. There's no excuse why it should be any different. And just display us, if we're pre-registered for roleplay, display us the roleplay servers. If we pre-registered for the non-roleplay or didn't register for roleplay, then display us those servers. But display us a list of servers like you did at the start of the game, where we are able to click a server, select it, and move to that server. And if you really want, do it like you did at the start of the game, where if the person decides not to select a server and just click start, they go to a random server the way that you want. But at the very least, give those players that want a change to a change of server, at least give us that option to be able to do that. Because what you're essentially doing is saying that any and all friendships you made are not worth it, and we don't care about them. We just are going to go and throw you into whatever server we feel is right.
It's a major slap in the face to, like I said, the social side of the game, the community side of the game. And I don't know if they just don't value how important those aspects are. But yeah, it's insane to me the way they're handling it. Like, even just from a business standpoint, it doesn't make any sense.
And as the Rainbow Pit says, if it stays like this, it will be dying during season 2 or 3 probably.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure season 2, but season 3, season 4, season 5, during those, by the time you reach season 5, you're probably going to have 1 or 2 active servers. You know?
That's exactly it. Like, I agree that, the game isn't dead yet. It's
already happening.
It's on life
already
support
happening.
already.
Yeah.
It's not even 2 months into the friggin' global launch, and the game's already on life support, facing major threats to its longevity if the devs don't act fast.
Yeah.
Because they've already driven away a huge customer base.
Definitely. I mean, the amount of people that we lost. When we merged our 2 fellowships in Gondor, we were able to merge in we were able to kick 20 inactive players and merge in all the actives from the other fellowship. And that's the state of the game, is that the first part of the game was sort of good enough to keep all of our players, and the community, getting into this community, was good enough to keep the majority of players. But you still lost a large portion of your community. And more and more people are saying every day that it's not worth it. It's ruining my life, my personal life away from the game, to be dedicating so many hours to something where the devs don't even care.
Yeah.
Or rather, aren't listening to the community. And also, as Rainbow Pit says, it's Minecraft is a good case study for that. Always listening to the community gets you places. And I think that that's sort of a lesson that really needs to be taken to heart, is that if you want to guarantee longevity of profit, you have to keep your community happy, because you may be able to make your millions off of the very start of the game and just making all the decisions around profit and no enjoyment at all of rather, not no enjoyment, but off of profit and not for the
Yeah.
community, or not beneficial to the community. Or you can make your decisions to please the community, and in the end up with a longer lasting player base that continues to support you with their money, instead of just getting it all at once and then losing so many of your players.
And I just thought of something as well, and this is something that completely shocks me. Because I'm in Canada, I have access to the Diablo Immortal beta test that's going on right now. When I loaded it up for the first time, I ended up seeing right beside the Blizzard name on the loading screen, NetEase was the developers for that game as well. And my heart sank when I saw that. I thought, oh God, that's not good. But I went into it.
NetEase has a really, like, they have the opportunity to make a really super good name for themselves. But with the Lord of the Rings games, they're literally just making it so that as soon as you see it, you already know they're going to be driven towards profit. They're going to be like, they're not going to listen to their community as much, and it makes your heart sink.
This is where, like I said, I became really surprised, because I didn't have a lot of hope for it when I saw NetEase was the developer. Unfortunately, there must be a completely different set of people working on that game than there are this game, and they don't talk to each other at all, because every single thing that this game is lacking in terms of like endgame content, balance, all the main issues, Diablo has that in spades. Especially the endgame boredom aspect, like I've been amazed at the completeness of and polish on Diablo, and I've been comparing it to this game, because this is the first closed beta that I've played for Diablo, and I went through 3 betas for this game, or 2 or 3 friggin' betas. Yeah, this is the 3rd beta, I think, that I'm considering it. And it still doesn't feel anywhere close to finished or polished, or like they've done anything to, like you said, make those meaningful changes that the community has asked for. Yet they have a whole nother team of people doing exactly the right things, it seems. So I don't know, it just confuses me to no end.
Yeah. And as well, I'm not even gonna try your name. I'm so sorry. I apologize, but I don't want to. I don't want to get your name wrong and butcher it. But they say, you reckon this game can get back on its feet, and what do you reckon needs to happen? Okay, so I guess we can turn our discussion towards that. If it hasn't already been towards that to a certain extent, but I think that yes, if they were to actually go and make, I mean, it's a critical issue. It's a very, very critical issue, and it's a very time-sensitive one that needs to be addressed now, not later, but within the coming weeks. It really needs to be addressed by the developers, and by the people managing the game, and that is that the community is very much so what keeps this game alive. It's the lifeblood of this game.
Yeah.
Is the fact that there is such a community feel. The people who don't get involved in the community, I have distinctly seen them slowly drop off as the game goes on. It's the people who get involved in the community and begin to enjoy everyone else's presence and friendship who stay. And even some of them just get bored and they leave, or they get too frustrated with the game and they leave. But what really has to happen is NetEase needs to reevaluate their goals with this game.
Yeah.
Profit is good. Profit is what keeps the game going. It's what keeps your developers happy. It's what keeps your game alive. But at the same time,
it can't be at the cost of everything else.
It cannot be at the cost of your community. And so what they need to do is they need to start listening directly. And I give them this. They did make a change. And actually sort of listen to the community with the stop the change thing. They sort of listened to their community in going and making these roleplay servers, but all the information seems to point to them not lasting into Season 3. It's just a temporary band-aid that will be to keep the community happy until it comes up in the 3rd season. But we will see what changes by then.
My biggest fear is that they're intentionally trying to make the roleplay servers look bad and look like a bad option. And they just want to kill it. Like they basically did the middle ground to, like you said, to appease us for now. But they never intended on following through with it in a meaningful way. They just basically put the bare minimum up to make us happy, but then just did it in such a bad way that nobody's going to actually enjoy it. And it's going to make their numbers go lopsided because so many people are then going to choose the mixed servers. And it's going to end up looking like the mixed servers were the more popular option and they can just justify doing away with the roleplay idea. And then they won't have to deal with the issue again come Season 3.
Well, in our case, we will be going to a roleplay server. And I hope beyond hope that they actually, with this new season, new goals, new everything, it's a new beginning. And I seriously hope beyond hope that they go and create some really, really good, entertaining content instead of, oh, you're now battling, I don't know, you're battling for, and this probably would never be the case, but you're battling for the Black Gate of Mordor or something, or you're battling for, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For sort of like just a replacement of Dol Guldur, because I know it's not going to be the objective of Dol Guldur, but I seriously hope that they go and aren't as sort of linearly minded as to just be like, okay, we're going to take Dol Guldur, but it's no longer Dol Guldur, it's a different objective, and everyone has to fight over it. And I seriously hope that they're able to introduce some aspect to Season 2 that will keep everyone happy and will be actually entertaining, other than just, here's a common objective. If you want a season title, it really isn't consequential to you, but if you want the season title, you can go and fight for Dol Guldur and occupy that, and it's really fun. But beyond that, we need something beyond that. But also we need them to listen to their community on the major issues.
Yeah.
And I give them props. They've done it once, but it took them quite a bit of time. And I understand that's how the business world works. The business world requires you to have your board meetings, to discuss what are the solutions, to do market research, to do all these things
as we were
before
saying
you
before,
make a decision.
Like, these are necessary
and especially the
steps.
Developers too.
But
like they probably had to throw this at the developers.
With issues this big, like you said before, it's you can't wait to have all of those meetings and make all those decisions before making some kind of announcement addressing it to the community.
Definitely.
You know, having the board meeting and all that stuff, that works fine for businesses that aren't in constant direct communication with their customers, who don't always have their customers yelling at them what they want. But in this case, when they clearly have that information, as you said, they need to be on the ball and and it seems to, like, personally, I'm actually happy when an issue like this happens and the devs even just put out a small message saying, yes, we've heard what you say and we'll get back to you.
Definitely, yeah.
If it takes another 3 days or a week for them to get back to you at all with anything, it gets a little frustrating, but at least they acknowledged it. But you can't have it take 3 days to a week to have that initial acknowledgement come out. And that's what people get frustrated by.
Yeah.
I noticed too, we just have some questions here from the chat. Max Martinez was wanting to talk about how they state that season 2 roleplay is only going to last for 1 season. And I think that's the second part of that tooltip we were looking at earlier, when they say in the future we'll provide more fun and interesting season concepts. Once this roleplay season is over, you'll still be able to join other non-roleplay servers and play with non-roleplay players.
Yeah, which seems to suggest that it will only be for 1 season.
Not to me. That's the thing. Because all they really clearly say is that you're not necessarily going to be locked into roleplay from here on out. At the end of that season, you will be able to join a regular mixed server. But
certainly.
The thing is, the first part of it does kind of fall in line with the idea we talked about before, that maybe the idea is more gimmicks each season now. And so originally the gimmick was supposed to be mixed commanders. Maybe we all just didn't catch on that it was going to be a gimmick for just 1 season, freaked out, and now there's 2 gimmicks. There's going to be a roleplay gimmick and a mixed gimmick for season 2. And then season 3, maybe it's going to be a whole new gimmick and they'll learn their lessons from this one, and maybe we'll all be just perfectly fine and dandy with whatever the gimmick is for season 3. But this actually makes me feel like roleplay will be a thing in future seasons, or else they wouldn't have to specify that you'll have the ability to join with non-roleplay players. The fact that they have to specify in this that you get the ability kind of makes me think it's going to continue.
Yeah. I would like to believe that, but it also seems to suggest that there is the potential, and this also comes down to a communication issue. It would be very nice to have an official response on this, and I hope they do when they issue their official response to Don't Kill Friendships. But it would be very nice to actually have an official response on, does it suggest and does it mean that by season 3 the roleplay aspect will sort of be merged into and we no longer will have roleplay, or does it mean that we'll be able to then choose to play? Because to me the way it's worded suggests that it's saying that roleplay players and non-roleplay players will be playing together in the next
and again
season.
it's just something else, I guess, that they're just unclear on, and they leave a lot of room for interpretation. Tanner also is curious about our honest opinions. As he says, of course we all hope that the game will take a positive turn, but do either of us truly believe the developers will change what they are doing? I'll let you get your thoughts out on that first, Xander. Do you truly believe that the developers will change what they're doing?
I think, and they've only done it once, but that's the point, is they have done it once.
Yep.
They've proven in the past that when the community makes enough noise over a specific issue like this, they will at least give us a partial change to sort of keep that part of the community happy. And I believe that although we have all these issues that we've discussed, they really want what's best for their community. They may not always show it, and they may not always sort of communicate the way we would like, but I do believe that the developers, with enough motivation and prompting from the community, will probably address this at the very least, to clarify everything, if not actually announce, we weren't going to let you select servers, or we weren't going to provide any way for you to stay with your friends, but now we are. So I do believe there is the ability for the developers to change how they're handling this. And I believe that if the same sort of situation of community outrage occurs enough, they'll start to look to feedback from the community and from like people like us who are the video makers, and they're other fearless pioneers. And they'll begin to look to people for feedback to see how can we improve, how can we better suit the community. But I think that currently they're not doing that as well.
Yeah.
But their past record does show that there is hope, and that that's my honest opinion, is that I believe that they will do at least something about this. I'm not sure if they'll make the right decision, or if they will do something that the community disagrees with, causing many people to leave. But I do believe that that there is definitely a chance for redemption, and that they probably would take it if given the chance.
I do agree with you on that. I think you basically hit it exactly, that their track record, while it's not great, we have evidence suggesting that the community can influence their decisions, and that they're not going to force change on us if we let them know we're unhappy with it. So just because of that, I do have confidence that your hashtag this morning has already raised enough of a stink that they've had to take notice. And I'm right on the same page with you, that I don't know if the way they address this is going to be the ideal solution, but considering there's 2 weeks until they even plan, well, I don't know if they can turn it off now, but considering there's still 2 weeks until the next season starts, I think they have time to at least implement something. And you know what? If that means they got to work a little bit of overtime to fix their own goddamn problem, so be it. But they have 2 weeks to try something. Like you said, something.
And I really think that NetEase has to realize the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
And realize that this is a matter of, if you pay your developers overtime a little bit, it may cost you more in the short term, but the retention of community and making your community happy will likely prolong profits and increase them in the long term.
And that's not even a likely thing. I will guarantee that right now. Like, I would put money on it that if they were to pay their devs a bit of overtime to come up with a meaningful solution to this that would actually appease people, that the profits that they would see just from the customer retention, the new customers that they would end up gaining that they'd otherwise lose, and the whales that are then going to be going to have the reason to spend money again, all of that is going to outweigh any overtime they have to pay to get this done.
Definitely. Yeah. And also, one more thing. But before we end on that subject right there, is that if it's just a server selector, I'll be happy. That's it. That's all I want, is just plain and simple, a way to select my server selector. If they build that into the current server selection menu or what have you, because it already seems set up in a way that it could easily have season 2 added to that. That's all that I think I and everyone else I've talked to in the community, that's just enough to make people happy. And in the short term. And in the long term, increased communication with the community is definitely something that needs to be touched on, and something that needs to take place.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to address, I just saw this question from Zwazi there. Do I ever think that I won't be making content about this game? Unfortunately, Zwazi, that is something that I had started to think about. As Xander said earlier, like, I am going to be checking out season 2 regardless of what happens, just because I'm genuinely curious to see whether the changes are good or bad, or just what the game is like with all the changes. But I'm not as confident anymore in how long I'll be streaming this game. Before all of this stuff happened, like before the stop the change stuff and everything, if they had just given us the game that they were presenting us originally, just season after season, you just choose your faction again, nothing crazy going on, then I would have been happy to play this game for years. I mean, that was what, 10 factions that we had now. There's really no reason to get bored too early. If you want to check out all the different factions, they would have been adding new things. So I thought that I was going to have a pretty decent length of time in this game. But yeah, my future with this game is a little more unclear now, just because I don't have as much faith in it anymore. So got to be brutally honest on that one.
Yeah, and just to touch on that from my personal perspective, I've been creating a lot of content. Well, not a lot because of real life, school and stuff, but I've been sort of working toward making content for the game as well, and I like to promote the things that I really have trust in, and from the start, I've always had trust in this game up until around the time of Stop the Change and a few developer decisions throughout it, and it sort of ruins that trust a lot. But also another issue too is that if there's all these issues, you get so busy dealing with the issues themselves that you don't have the energy to actually then go and create any form of meaningful content afterwards. You know?
Yep, I totally agree with you there. That's been one of my issues recently. I've dropped the Monday streams because I wanted to try and get back to putting videos out. But then when I sat down and I was ready to record and start doing stuff, it was like, God, what do I talk about? The game just is in such a bad state right now.
And we've experienced that with our podcast as well. We've been thinking of making an episode discussing all these things into a short, condensed sort of thing. But we also have our sort of tutorial related podcast episodes that we were always planning on from the start, but then having this sort of extra content as the game goes on, the game news and stuff. But it's at the point where we really, when at the start we had all these ideas for this is how we're going to go episode by episode. And we just had this wealth of ideas, and now the game has become it's in such a state that you aren't as passionate about it. You don't have all these ideas just overflowing that you just want to send out to the community and to just voice with everyone and share with everyone. It's more you're stressed from the game, you're stressed from your own fellowship and having to deal with the responsibilities of that, and it ends up making it so that once everyone's ready to sit down and record that next podcast episode, we're like, okay, what do we do it on?
And
are we able to sort of passionately discuss this? And the answer seems to be at the current moment, no.
I can expand on that because like I said, you know, the reason I started making videos and started the channel in the first place, like I'm not one of the people that was streaming other games or making content for other games and just kind of stumbled onto this one. I had been playing this one and just grew to love it. And I loved the game so much. I saw so much potential in it that I wanted other people to experience it. I told my brother about it. I was telling my friends about it. I was just trying to get anyone and everyone that I thought might enjoy the game to at least check it out. And
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that, okay, if you've got questions, here's what you can do, because it is overwhelming, but like, have some patience and it's great. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Any questions that I saw in chat, if I had answers for people that would give them a more enjoyable experience, I wanted to help them out. And that all came from a place of loving the game so much that I just truly wanted others to experience it in its entirety and see what potential it had.
Definitely.
But I don't have that same passion about it now. Like you said, I don't see the same potential in the game. I don't think I would feel good suggesting this game to somebody else now. I would have to qualify it and preface it so much in, you know, well, it is good, but, you know, you're going to like it, but would be the whole conversation now.
And in regards to that from me, I mean, if you look at my personal experiences, I started with the betas and I was hooked on this game.
Yeah.
I loved the game so much. I had so much passion for it. I went through literally a week of like playing the game almost non-stop. During the third beta, doing market research through Addison Research for NetEase, because I believed that this game was amazing.
Wow.
And that it could be improved. It could be improved in the areas that it wasn't, to sort of help it live to its bigger potential. And full disclosure, I didn't do this for free. I was paid, but I did dedicate. I mean, the only requirement was to play it 1 hour per day, and to fill out some surveys, and then to talk to them for I think it was a 45-minute or 1 hour interview at the end. And the thing is I felt so passionate about this game at the time that I wasn't just playing 1 hour per day for the week. I was playing it for like maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. I mean, the majority of my day was going into this game, to the point that like even my admittedly, even some of my grades were suffering, right? And I was putting so much passion and effort into this game, and even the money wasn't my motivation at that point. It was a nice benefit. My motivation was that I loved the game so much that I wanted to see the full sort of potential of it be realized and come through.
Exactly.
And so I did that for an entire week, and instead of the minimum of 100 words you have to put into each field on the things, I was putting like practically full page essays through the whole thing. I was giving them so much information on how wonderful the game is. Here's where you're doing really super good, but here's the pitfalls, here's the issues. And then also I went on to run my own fellowship in the second beta, as well as the last beta. I was running my own fellowship during the last beta, and now I was prompted, because I really wanted to sort of foster this community, because the game is so good through its community feel, that I wanted to foster the community and sort of help in any way I could to make it an enjoyable experience for others. And that's how we started out this season as well. We started out the season, and I ended up bringing up the fellowship that turned out to be the fellowship with the highest power level on the entire server, and we've actually been able to rival with all our players. We've been able to go up against probably one of the whole Elven faction. Our single fellowship, along with the help of a couple others, with all the other fellowships of Middle Earth, have been able to hold them at a standstill. And this speaks very, very well for Eisen. They are, I find them to be an amazing fellowship. The fact that they are able to literally hold off the entirety of the server, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is we brought this huge fellowship to be the biggest one in Gondor and to have the highest power level on the server, simply because I believed in the game, and I wanted to sort of make that experience for anyone else that I could. And granted, we had
trying to foster that community.
Yeah, and granted, we had issues, right? And most of them pertained either to like some infighting and stuff amongst a couple members, but when it came down to it, most of the issues were with key game mechanics that should have been fixed.
Yeah.
And admittedly, during exam week was one of our major issues, because I wasn't able to be as active as I normally was. And so that's where we started to fail a little bit, but that's getting into the later season. I found it being that a lot of people just weren't pleased with the game, and it's sort of come to the point where this is becoming a big issue, that we have a lot of people who may not even play the game into the next season.
That's the scary part, is the prospective amount of people that are just considering not even putting the time in.
Yeah.
They've already lost so much hope.
Some people have lost so much time, so much personal and emotional investment into it.
Yeah.
That it feels like it feels almost like it's a community chat server that's just so broken to the point that some people aren't even wanting to be a part of it anymore. You know, it's becoming where there's a lot of people like myself who still recognize the potential of the game and enjoy the game and enjoy the gameplay experience, but feel that there's so much that it's not living up to when it comes to its full potential.
Well, and I think there's a big part of it too is kind of sunk cost fallacy at this point, where there's a lot of people that have either literally just put a lot of money into the game and aren't ready to part with that investment yet. Or there are people that have just put in so much time and feel the same. They don't want to.
Emotions.
Yeah, and emotions when it comes to the community. There are so many things that people have invested into this game over the course of the last year, that it makes it hard to just cut and run. It may be easier for somebody that just joined last week and is just checking it out for the first time. And sure, it's easy for them to say, "Oh wow, this game looks like crap," and just take off. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that aren't ready to make that decision yet.
Yeah, exactly. So
definitely. It's definitely sad, and it definitely, as I said at the beginning, it makes me worrisome. There's a part of me that does have hope, as we were talking about earlier, that the devs at least are going to address this and do something. But we can't really say with confidence whether that's going to be the solution that people would actually want to see, like to see, deserve to see, any or all of the above, So it's still a bit of a haze in terms of where the game is going in the future. And
if you look at it too, I mean, a lot of people, in terms of time, as you touched on, have a lot of time invested, to the point that, I think when I last checked. I'm probably at around 400 or more hours that are invested into this game overall. And so the thing is that kind of investment, you sort of sit there, and there's many people where that's the only thing that's keeping them here.
Yeah.
Is the fact that they have money in the game. They have, or rather, they have, yeah, people who have spent money, right? They have paid money to the game, but also the people who are emotionally or have time invested,
Like
they
Tanner
really
here
don't want to
says-
leave because they
touches
have to
exactly on what
justify
you
that
say.
to themselves.
Tanner has time and emotion invested
Yeah.
into the game, and like I said, it makes him sick to his stomach to even think about quitting.
Same to
So,
be honest with you. Yeah.
but yeah, you know, when the point right above that Tanner makes about the fake ads was another one, that the fact that they put out those fake ads, that speaks a lot to the values of the developers. You know, to me, if they had confidence in their own game, they would have no problem using true representative gameplay to sell it.
I mean, anything.
There's nothing
anything
wrong
with the Lord of the Rings franchise.
I mean,
right? Anything with the Lord of the Rings franchise should not need fake advertising
the amount
to
of
show it.
the amount of attacks that you could use, just ask players type thing to send footage of attacks on structures. Who wouldn't like to see an ad for this game where all you see is arrows going into Minas Tirith or something? Isn't that one of the best parts about attacks, is when you just all of a sudden see everybody send and the arrows jump on screen? Wouldn't that make a great ad? That would make people go, wait, what? But no, we get these friggin' slap fight ads between Lurtz and Dane. And now if they were to add those slap fights into the game, that would actually be cool. I'd do that as a casual activity. But, like, come on, guys. That one was...
In terms of what Max says about, I don't know if this is even legal. Now...
Yeah.
I'm not going to give my official legal opinion on stuff like this.
Hashtag not legal advice.
Yeah, but there have been cases in the past. There have been cases in the past where a company has gone and had deceptive advertising.
Yep.
I'm not going to name names, but you guys have probably seen them where it's like, oh, pick a choice, you know, like some guy's freezing in the Arctic. Do you give him a coat, or do you give him a campfire or something? And then the thing points to the campfire and selects it when it's obviously the wrong choice, and then the ice melts out under him and he falls, you know, like that kind of thing. That kind of ad, which became really popular for a long time there, they actually had legal issues with that, where the Advertising Standards Council came after them. But the point is disregarding legality and disregarding how all this works, it really speaks to how the developers feel about their own game.
Yeah.
When they cannot advertise the game for what it is. When you saw Minecraft advertisements, it's advertised for what it is. They have Minecraft gameplay in there. The original old advertisement was just footage of someone walking through a Minecraft world, right? The point is that when you market something like this, especially when it's based off of something like the Tolkien Legendarium, you shouldn't have to go and make these fake advertisements in order to further promote your game. Now, I get the fact that in a lot of cases, these are representations of the game. They're not actually the game, and they're drawn up by artists. But maybe you need to do that, but at least make them accurate to the game and include some gameplay footage.
Yeah.
But also, when it comes to these poor advertisements, if your game is not good enough that you can advertise the game using footage from the game, and or rather modified footage, if you have to modify the client to sort of remove the top bar and stuff and only have sort of the main footage of the gameplay itself, and you have to have some sort of staged, like there's an attack going on the kingdom, like they did at one point, but it was fake.
Yeah.
It wasn't it was a artistic representation of it, and I saw those ads for a while there where they were at least close to what the game is. You really, it speaks 1,000 words. You know, a picture says 1,000 words, but in this case, an advertisement says 1,000 words about your game when you can't even advertise the game for what it is, and you have to make up stuff in order to get people to play the game. I mean, frankly, and this may seem like a bit of an overblown opinion, but I think it's frankly a disgrace.
Yeah.
I think it's a disgrace to sort of drag the Tolkien legendarium and all that Tolkien worked for during his whole life. I mean, he dedicated so much of his life towards making these books, making the lore around them, writing the Silmarillion, to the point that he didn't even finish the Silmarillion before his death. His son had to finish it.
Yeah.
That was how invested he was in his world. And that is why Peter Jackson, the creator of the Lord of the Rings films, he really saw it for what it was, and he wanted to respect Tolkien's works and sort of bring them to the big screen the way that he would think would make Tolkien proud.
Yeah.
You know, the way that would accurately represent Tolkien's works. But what we've seen here is we've seen a game that, well, it's an interesting concept. It's one of these war concepts, quite like some of the zombie games that are out there, or the other. I mean, it's a whole sort of category of strategic board game, right? But even if you're playing within the restrictions of that, you really should be putting so much work into the game that you feel that you want to accurately represent Tolkien's works and do them justice. And to the point that it should be, with the quality of work that Tolkien has given, it should be that your game should reflect that quality and should reflect that in a way that you can advertise it to people, and people see that and they say, I want to play that.
With the Lord
Not
of the
in a
Rings,
way that you have to use fake advertisements.
with the official license for Lord of the Rings, your game should sell itself. That's basically it. Like, if you can't sell a Lord of the Rings game, you're doing it wrong.
Definitely.
Like, that's
100%.
just the way it is. So,
and even if you're selling it initially to the people who download it, they're like, oh, Lord of the Rings, this is interesting. I love Lord of the Rings. Let's play this. If you can't retain players,
yeah,
if with Lord of the Rings official license from the Tolkien estate, you should be able to make a game that sells itself, as you say.
Bare minimum.
That game should be able to retain its players for at least a year, you know.
Yeah,
and
this
to
game
retain
should
a
have had
huge amount of players.
This game should have had at least 3 to 5 years of a healthy player base, in my opinion. Based off everything I had seen that they were presenting from the betas, I was giving the game a good 3 to 5 years before the health of it was threatened by anything.
Definitely.
Because I didn't think they were going to do anything this drastic this soon. These are things that I could see them trying to implement in like season 3 when people have started to get bored with the status quo.
Yeah.
But they hadn't let us actually experience the game in its entirety before they then said, we're going to turn it right upside down on you.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's created just a whole world of headaches for them. I don't think they were ready for the stop the change, lashing or feedback that they got, like backlash. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then I also, for some reason, they didn't learn their lessons from that. And they also weren't ready for any backlash, it seemed, from these from these announcements and from your hashtag this morning. So they've just found themselves in the exact same world of hurt again. And they've got no one to blame but themselves. You know, we've talked about all the issues that they've faced with communication, just not listening to their players, really making it look like they're in it for greed. And as we've said, you know, we're hopeful, but we can only hope with the information we've got. I do want to thank you very much, Xander, for coming on. This is a topic it seems like we could probably go through a whole 24-hour stream talking about.
We could definitely talk about this for for days.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been an honor. It's always a pleasure to come on and talk with you and your community, and yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem.
It's really been a pleasure.
Anytime that you want to come on and have a chat, let me know, and we'll work it out, because it's always great discussing these things with you. I know the community likes hearing from more people than just myself. I love hearing multiple opinions especially from different servers, different content creators, people with different audiences, especially when we can start to hear that, you know, the things that we're talking about are kind of the consensus that we've been seeing. So
definitely. And thank you so much. And thank you to your community, for having me. And yeah, if it really comes down to it, just reach out to me on Discord, because we are Lord of the Rings Minecraft.
indeed. And it looks like this was good timing, because I think all my streaming stuff just crapped out anyway. But
Ouch.
yeah, that's all good. King Dead getting his DDoS in at the end of the night. But yeah, we'll have you on again another time.
Yeah, certainly. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Have yourself a great night,
Goodbye.
Xander.
You too.
Alrighty, well, we just had a little stutter step there. Twitch looks like it's still trying to go. No? I don't know what's... Okay, Twitch says it's live but unstable. YouTube says it's unstable again. So, before we lose everyone, it's back. Alright. Before we lose everyone and this decides to just give up, it's great we got through the interview with Xander. Sorry if it turned out to be a longer interview than normal, but I mean, it's a huge topic worthy of a full discussion, I think. As that I was quite curious to hear Xander's expanded thoughts on the matter. So I hope everyone enjoyed the discussion. We got some questions answered. Hopefully we cleared things up, anything we were maybe able to, because that's one of the points of the discussion that, as you can tell, is we're not able to clear up everything quite yet. But that has brought us to that time. We are already past, I think, 1 o'clock in as it is. Yeah, so we're you got this. Woo! Thank you, Xander. But we will be wrapping things up here. Hope everyone enjoyed the bit of PvP we had going. Got some relocations done. It was great fighting side by side with Crown once again. And as always, thank you so much to anyone and everyone that joined us this evening. As I said, there was a bunch of new names in chat tonight. I always love seeing that. Thank you to all my supporters, all my patrons. If you would like to help support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/AjMcGamer or AjMcGamer.live. As I said, my patrons, just all the subscribers and followers, and I try and do it, and I can never keep them all track in my head, and so I try and say new things every time. But there's followers, subscribers, patrons. I think that's all the things, and then there's the buttons. Because if it has been enjoyable and informative and entertaining and all that fun jazz, then feel free to hit that like button and the subscribe button, the follow button, the share button, the button. Yes, if anyone is interested in the Lord of the Rings Minecraft, then yes, you can get a hold of Xander on Discord. And why is this all weird? Because I'm not good at like Minecraft designing and stuff like that. I never really got into it myself, but I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are really good at making stuff in Minecraft. And if we could get a Minecraft Lord of the Rings thing going, that'd be crazy. But anyway, with all the thank yous and all of that taken care of, we will be doing this once again on Friday night. As I said, we're doing the Wednesdays and the Fridays now. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. And until next time, good luck on whatever. Oh, see, I almost got through it, but I didn't quite get there because I second guessed myself. So just cut and we'll rewind for a sec here. And thank you very much for joining us tonight. And until next time, good luck on whatever battlefield you find yourself on. Final transition of the evening. Peace out.